on the Bobby Bones Show now.
Hanson.
All right, Hanson's coming in the studio right now. They're walking down the hall. Come on in. Bring them on in. There they are. There they are. There they are. Yeah. They're like us. We're all coming in like,
Yeah, well, you guys, you trust us so much, we feel like we're not getting enough direction, but that's not you. It's just because we still haven't woken up from last night's partying. We're like, huh, what?
Woken up. We didn't even go to sleep.
I'm going to tell you guys, first of all, thank you very much because you guys came and flew and drove. You guys don't even live here. And I appreciate you coming to the show last night and playing and being the secret guest. Like, to me, just from my heart, I appreciate it. When I can do something for you guys, let me know.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yeah, St. Jude's is awesome, and so it's an easy ask because we're, who doesn't want to help with such a great cause? And we all got kids, and we know what that could be like. And so to be on the other side of that, helping people get through it,
it's hard to imagine. Yeah,
it's a great thing.
It was last night. There are all these artists, and this is true. And you guys may not have seen it because you were right in the middle of it. You were the artist that all the artists came out to watch, because as you guys went on stage and you guys did this really awesome a cappella thing at the beginning.
Yeah,
everybody was fighting for a spot. Everyone was fighting to get a spot to watch you guys perform.
Wow.
It was the one artist that all the artists wanted to watch, and it was you guys.
Wow.
So
well, hopefully it wasn't like, all right, I've got bets on this one failing.
No. People were climbing stairs. It was really fantastic.
Well, the Ryman is such an awesome venue to play in, and to get to walk out and start our little piece of the show by singing a cappella was just it's something. You're not looking at the side of the stage. You're not looking for who's looking. It's not some game of kind of like, can I be the biggest performance of the night? It's just like, it's such a great venue. So much music has been there. So many cool artists, and so you're kind of like in that moment.
Well, singing a spiritual song in a room that used to be a church built in the 1890s is all right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like there's such a sense of we love the craft of music, and so anytime you can we actually are in this, believe it or not, for making music versus so many other things that come with it. And so anytime you can kind of have a moment where you go, hey, this room was made for this, it was made for, you can stand in there and you can sing, and the back row can hear you without a mic, without anything.
You're saying it's more fun to play in a venue that's made for music than someone that's
than hockey.
Made for hockey, arena football.
The puck is going to sound great in here, guys. Yeah.
Hanson's here. Isaac, you good?
I'm good. I was just playing guitar tech at the same time.
Yeah, I saw he was working on strings while. So I met your son.
Yes.
Look, a spitting image, tall. How old is he?
He is 11.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys, there's kids all around.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah.
Taylor has 5 kids.
Yeah, no, but is 11-year-old your oldest kid?
No, my oldest is 15.
You have a 15-year-old?
Yeah.
Man, what's happening? We're all getting older, man.
Yeah.
Well, it freaks me out. I mean, I started early because I was 20 basically. So that's not common, and I wouldn't.
You
go
started
around
with
and say,
kids at 20, not music.
Yeah. I was kids at 20. Yeah,
music was like music when you were 9.
Yeah, music I was 9.
What can you say? He's just an early starter.
Props to being a young parent, though. I will say I wouldn't go around saying, hey, everybody, you should start having kids at 19 or 20. But it is awesome to be young and like be kind of still have that connection with having kids. I mean, it's like the energy of doing stuff and going places and sharing things, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you have a 15-year-old, 11-year-old, all the way down. But what would you tell them about music? Because you guys, as Hanson, started again, like you said, you started singing at 9. You 3 brothers. Do they have interest? Any of your kids have massive interest to be in music?
It's interesting because they're faced with it every day, and so I think it might have been a different scenario for some of them if it wasn't like, oh, that's what Dad does, Because we didn't have that. We were growing up in a family that was musical, but there weren't any musicians around us. And so it was very much our own thing. And I think it's different when you're looking at something and sort of comparing yourself to it. But
I mean, my boys rolled their eyes and were frustrated, that I was leaving town. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, oh, Dad. It's like, so they, in a weird way, they actually have some, like you say, some kind of like slightly negative connotations to music. Like, oh man, he's gone all the time. But for my kids, my oldest son has started playing guitar. My next son plays bass and stuff like that. I mean, so they're starting to show real interest in that. As to whether or not they make a career out of it, a profession out of it, who knows?
Do you want them to?
You want them to do stuff that they love. I mean, basically anything you do is hard.
I'm even meaner than that. I want them to do something they're good at. You know, like if you're a good musician, go for it, man. If you're a mediocre musician,
don't go for it.
I love you. You're my son. But, you know, become a plumber. Become something you can excel at. Like, don't. Music is awesome, but it's so hard, and there's so much. There can be so much judgment and like self-doubt in being somebody on stage that's sort of burying your soul and all that. It's like just, you know, do something that you're good at. Do something that you feel like you can just destroy at, you know, and maybe that's music.
HANSON is here. When you guys started, because Zach, you're the youngest.
Yeah.
But if you're 9, and Isaac, you're the oldest, right?
Yeah, I'm 11.
So, okay, you're 11 right now, and Taylor's 9.
So I was 6.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was 6 when we started the band. At that time, you know, we were just singing. It was more like we had heard 50s music. We had heard, you know, rock and roll and Motown records and gospel. And so we were doing kind of a vocal group, sort of harmonies, re-singing 50s rock and roll songs. And very quickly, it was a couple years, and then we were full on, you know, drums and guitar and piano. And it was a tool for us. For us, we heard songs. We wanted to replicate songs. And so the idea of becoming the band, going from just singing to sort of guitar solos and Chuck Berry and all that.
Exactly.
It was just this natural thing. But, you know, it's kind of crazy. You know, I look at my kids. I have a 9-year-old son and a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, right? And, like, if it was me, like 3 of them would already have been singing, writing songs at this point. And you just go, you know, I don't even know. I mean, my life is not your life.
I think a lot of that is
extraordinarily driven in a certain way, though. I mean,
How at that age?
Well, I think it's really not an age question, you know. I think it's just who we are, and who we were at that time. I mean, I was thinking about this a lot because this last year we were celebrating an anniversary. You don't mark years every time, but we're like, hey, we've been playing for 25 years, like since we were kids. So we did a whole tour last year, kind of going, hey, this is a big deal. And age is such a strange thing because everyone is not the same at every age. I mean, sure, there's a reality to, like, you can't read until X point for most people, and you can't drive, but you can't vote. But I think we just, that's who we were, and like we didn't see a huge roadblock, which is a credit to our folks for just not telling us you're completely crazy.
Yeah.
To trying, we didn't see a roadblock to trying, and you know, whatever it is, like there was a combination of just enough talent and just enough like drive and guts, I guess.
What's that like when you're that age and your whole world is like, boom, you're the thing? Because it happened. Yeah. What seemingly to us, it was like, boom, they're a thing.
Right. Yeah.
These kids are a thing.
So I will say, you know, parenthood, I think, really enlightens this. The great thing about being a kid, like a young person, is it stresses parents out because kids don't think about anybody but themselves. And so when you're a kid, you're the center of the world. And when you become the center of the world for that moment, you know, that, you know,
the actual to the world,
you're still the center of the world,
yeah.
Right? So I think for us, like we were driving towards this idea of success as a band. And so the center of our world was that, like, how do we get our music in front of this? How do we get a bigger show next week? What should our next album come out? And then all of a sudden it's like other people cared, but we were still like, okay, what's our next album? What's our next thing?
Well, also, I mean, we were talking about, you know, age and how you start out and everything like that. I mean, you do have to think about it from a contextual point of view. I mean, when you're 11 years old and you start out singing with your brothers and they're 9 and 6 years old, and you're memorizing songs and writing songs, and you're doing that for almost 5 years. Which is making multiple records and all that kind of stuff. So that's like a third of your life. A third of your life at that point. You're like 5-6 years into making music, and then something really works, like on a next level working. You're like,
when did you know Boom Bop was going to work?
I knew we were working.
When did you know
reason?
that song was like, boom, like this is a song that's going to change our life?
Well, I mean, the real moment, there's a story, and some of it's documented. The first time we actually physically saw it was a radio event in New Jersey at Paramus Park Mall, which was the short version of the story is that we were rehearsing to do our first major TV, and we kind of had our heads down, right? Because you make a record, you put it out, it goes to radio, and we're just preparing to actually come out
for
and
all of our
do stuff.
jovialness throughout the years. We were actually quite serious.
Well, I'd say we're way more serious in a lot of cases than not, but. We were rehearsing to play Letterman, and we were asked to go do a radio show that we'd been agreed to do. It was kind of like, oh, really? We're rehearsing for David Letterman. It's tomorrow. And so we kind of reluctantly went to this a little acoustic performance, thinking that it was us, on a little corner stage in front of, 100 people.
Doing the kind of thing we'd done as a local band or whatever, doing our thing.
And the place was packed. It was 10,000 people there.
And that's when it was like, holy cow, this is a thing.
We looked around and went, something happened. What happened? Fast forwarding though, the thing that's really cool about, continuing and back to that very first day, the first songs we wrote is we actually genuinely are still doing it for the same reason, which is like, that's an unbelievable feeling to walk out and see people sing your songs back. Last year we were all over the world doing that. But in the end, it's still the same rush. The rush of creating something is still like the thing that causes you to want to chase that next 10,000 person crowd. It's like, that's amazing, but you're still excited to walk in front of any a crowd of 100.
10,000 people is fun, but I actually think theaters like the Ryman and stuff are probably more fun because it really feels like you. It really serves the art form really well, for lack of a better say.
On the Bobby Bones Show now.
HANSON.
What do you guys think of the country music community? You saw last night, there's a lot of friends. Like, I called all my friends to come play the show.
No,
you got some good playing friends.
So we're
right? Yeah, exactly.
Those your friends know how to play music. That's so
your
weird.
house parties are really musical.
The thing I love about Nashville is the fact that there is so much talent, and the fact that the talent is actually, that's the reason why, as opposed to places, the Hollywoods of the universe, where you can somehow arrive at that spot just because something happened and you did a YouTube video or whatever. Here, it's like you walk in and you're here for a reason.
Yeah, you
That's
better,
a song.
you better be good. And you have to be good, and if you're not...
And people are respectful, of each other.
Well, we were joking about playing in Nashville, when you're playing a show in Nashville. And sometimes... you know when you've got a good show going because there's always a better show down the road because there's so much music here. There's somebody in a bar down the road that's probably playing a better solo than you are, right? Most nights. So when you're in this town, you really got to step it up and you feel that,
Yeah.
I got a text from, I'm going to name drop for a second because he was at the show. Dirks Bentley texted and said, hey, give my number to Taylor because I was talking to him last night and I forgot to give him my number. And
There
so
we go.
I was standing beside Dirks and we're talking and you guys were on. And Dirks comes over to watch you guys and he says, I was at a U2 concert and I was waiting to go back and meet Bono. And HANSON was there too. He said, we hung out. They're the best guys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, we would say the same thing. That was actually a particularly random and awesome moment.
Yeah, well, when you're with the rock and roll pope, Bono, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, we all walked back to, and first of all, again, Dirk's really great dude, and we were just saying, great performance last night. Like watching people command the audience is just really fun from my perspective. We're standing back there, and all of us are fans. So that's one of the cool things is when you have to remember what it's like to look up and go, this is the person I'm aspiring to be. When you look at a band like U2, and so we're talking with Dirks, and of course he's been crushing it. And just to have that, that shared admiration, like a 10-year-old that's looking up at the first rock and roll show you see, we're like, that's what I want to be when I grow up, and to have that sense of I'm a fan of music.
Yeah. No, it was pretty great. We watched that whole show together, standing there, and there was a point in the show where everybody met, and Bono calls out, and he's like, New Orleans, lift us up. And he goes, HANSON, lift us up. We're like, oh my God. I looked over at Dirks, and Dirk looked at me, and I looked at Isaac. And because
we all turned into like 5-year-olds at that moment.
You still have to admire people. You still have to have people that are setting the bar for you. And that's an example of, I think, a band that everybody can look at and go, man, their live performance, their music, what they've done for what,
Well, they have, and this is actually kind of, you were asking about the Nashville scene, and in a way, I think, this is what I love about U2. For one, I mean, Dublin has always kind of been their home, right?
Right.
And even though they're always all over the place. But Nashville, and I think in some ways, U2 as well, there's this sense of like, well, I might be a really big deal, and I'm okay with that. But at the end of the day, I'm just a guy in a band. And there's a certain sense with the U2 guys, and what I love about the Nashville scene too is there's a lot of that where it's like, well, I can fill an arena or a stadium or whatever, but I'm just a guy that knows how to play guitar, and I'm cool with it.
I like it. It sounds like we live here.
Well,
I love it here. And we're like,
but Austin
we're in
has
Oklahoma.
Austin has a lot of that too, and you have a history in Austin of like real musicians. There's a real music culture. But I mean, we were talking about it in the last break. We're here because of genuinely, like, we would be doing it in a studio, behind the scenes, in a garage, And so whenever you meet people, truly the greatest, and again, speaking of your friend Dirk's, you see the people that I think hang on the longest, and the people that are there for there for the right reasons, because it's too hard to keep fighting for this if it's not because you actually love it, because you actually, you would do it in front of 50 people or in front of 50,000,
Hanson is here. It's just some music. Listen, I have a catalog of you guys of stuff that I love. And I've had you guys in to all my shows. Everywhere I've been, I've had you guys come in and play, and I always tell people, man, they're so good, and this is a jam right here.
It's always hitting me tonight.
Like, I love this one here. This is a jam. This is a jam. This one and this.
I will come to you.
I will come to you. That's a jam too, man. Don't get me started. Like, I made me geek out a bit.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm a legit fan.
Thank you.
And that's why I was like, come on, let's get him here. And you guys agreed to fly in and play. I'm grateful. I'll say it one more time. Sometimes I can be over thankful. Thank you very much for coming and playing last night, and for
You're
coming to the
very,
show.
very
this
welcome,
morning.
man. I appreciate it.
Hey,
And
well-
just the fact that you just did what you just did, that's enough thanks right there.
Yeah! All right, let's play a song. Hanson is here. What do we want to play, boys?
We're going to play the first one you threw in, Penny and Me.
Yeah!
So this was the first single we put out. We started our label back in 2003.
Hey guys, so because of licensing rules, we can't play anything with music on this iHeartRadio channel or podcast anymore. But you can go to bobbybones.com to see it. We hate that we had to take it down. It wasn't our decision, but just wanted to keep you up, and we wanted to keep up as much as possible. So go to bobbybones.com to watch or hear whatever you're missing right now. And thank you for listening to the show. And sorry about all the legal stuff.
Mr. Bobby Bones.
All right, Hanson's here this morning. I was watching a Facebook video, and you guys have played the version that you play of Boom Bop Now, and it had like 58 million views. Is it crazy that song has stood the test of time? Because songs...
Dude, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. And
Yeah.
and it's kind of, it's surreal, because that song is really about time, right? The song says, in an umbop, they're gone, right? The umbop is about the fact that time will pass like in a second.
Sort of like
and it's
c'est
gonna
la
be 20
vie,
years
like you
from now.
can't change it,
And
It's
so,
gonna
like,
happen.
when we play that song and people still, go crazy for that song. Last night we played it, and it's like the meaning of the song is being realized, like, on stage, right? The song says essentially that most things in life will come and go, so you better choose right now. Figure it out right now what you think is going to matter to you, and grab it.
It's almost a parable. I mean, it's like a lot of these songs. I mean, we talk about you find your own way through things when you write songs. The listener may not realize it, but oftentimes the writer's like, I don't know how this is going to work out, and the song is you're figuring things out and looking for that answer. And it's kind of a campfire song. I mean, Penny and Me is like that too. It's like, hey, we're apart. We're pulled apart by these different things, but we share these connections. And so I think telling that story, for us, I'd say that's, you hope that's the reason why people still carry that connection, is that it actually had a meaning to them, and it's still relevant, many years later, because the connection was real.
Do you have to switch up, because you've been playing it so long, how to play it so it feels somewhat fresh, so it just isn't like you're just like beating a nail with a hammer over again?
Well, part of that is, I think, being a performer. I mean, unfortunately, part of our job is to walk out night after night and make it fresh,
You know that. I mean, you come in here every day. There's got to be lots of days where you're like, I don't really feel like talking.
I'm not that excited about music.
it's this. We do the. there's some things we do the same, and you do it the same. There's other things you take liberties and create around it, but you give people what they want, and then you hopefully give them what they don't know they want yet.
Yeah.
And that's my goal every day.
I think that's the essence of it. I mean, you know what I will say about you know, when you're making records, it's all about making the newest, best version that you can make of yourself. You know, whatever that inspiration is that really lights the fire, you got to chase that. But when it comes to doing shows and things like that, for me, it's always that combination of remembering that you are a fan first of music, and so you just make sure that you weave in things that you really feel like, whether somebody's coming to their first show or their 100th show, that they're going to connect with in a variety of different ways, and that's all kinds of songs. I mean, that's songs off our first record, second record, third. There's always kind of songs from those records.
I think about it this way. So, end of last year, we put out a Christmas record. It'd been about 20 years since we did our first one, and we had done it again with a good friend who's a producer named Mark Hudson, and we had collaborated with Mark over the years. And Mark is famously a storyteller, and I've heard every one of Mark's stories at this point. We've been working with him.
They've come back.
Like I've heard them told over and over and over again. But there's still something about sharing those stories. Like when you introduce your friend to a new musician, and you go, Mark, you got to tell him that story. Right? And you still enjoy listening to that story, even though you've heard it told 3 times. You've heard the punchline changed around to make sense for the new guy. But you still are like, you got to tell the story. You got to tell the James Brown story. You got, that. Yeah. And so I think songs are that way. Like there's an element to which you're like, okay, I know this. I know what the punchline is. I know where the fans are going to clap. But you still you can't help but like watching people react to it and feel that sort of connection you get from people. Yeah.
I need to hear that story. I need to hear that song story. I need to hear
James Brown. I'm not sure we can say the James Brown story.
We can't. There are some good and some stories that are not able to be broadcast on the radio.
They're not able to be broadcast on
anywhere.
The internet.
Speaking of that, can you have the guitar?
Which is saying something.
Just another thing too, and I feel like maybe I'm in this mood this morning, but just again, like the joy of it is like we walk into the room day after day, and we are here with a guitar, like singing a song we wrote. I mean, the percentage of the population of the world that gets to make that their job is so small that you're just so grateful that you get to look out and see people that are singing your song back to you. I mean, that's just bizarre and amazing. And I would say, I'm sure most of the artists that you respect and know would say the same thing. Like it's that in and of itself is such a high. It's so cool and so humbling that even if you've sung that song 1,000 times, if you're the guy that's like, oh my God, I can't believe you all want to hear my song, you just need to go, have yourself looked at. And so it's one thing to have, move forward, try new things, play new songs. Obviously you always want to play the next thing and share new music, but it's an amazing thing to have people wanting to sing along with you.
I'm imagining like the sleight of hand magician, like like that guy's in a party. Like every time he goes to a party, people are like, man, do the coin trick, and he's like, dude, it stays in my hand the whole time. They're like, we don't care, do it again. He's like, but it's just in my hand. I just keep my hand closed.
Well, let's do the coin trick, everybody. Yeah. Hanson is here. Clap your hands for Hanson.
Okay, so speaking of old and new, we're gonna play you a new song. If I can get myself in this position in front of a microphone.
Oh, sorry, I wouldn't hear my headphones for a second.
Isaac is he can't help himself but be technical.
This is a song called "I Was Born," and first new song we put out last year.
Hey guys, so because of licensing rules, we can't play anything with music on this iHeartRadio channel or podcast anymore. But you can go to bobbybones.com to see it. We hate that we had to take it down. It wasn't our decision, but I just wanted to keep you up, and we wanted to keep up as much as possible. So go to bobbybones.com to watch or hear whatever you're missing right now. And thank you for listening to the show. And sorry about all the legal stuff.
Mr. Bobby Bones.
Okay, one more segment. We never do 45 minutes of live radio with an artist. Never.
We're glad to be the first. That's awesome.
Never. Hanson is here. They played the Ryman last night with us as our secret guest, and I saw every phone come out of the pocket as fast as they get it out. They were pulling it out. It was unlike the artists were crawling over. They were on the roof, shooting down. It was amazing last night. So again, I want to thank you guys for coming and
glad to be here.
And
Thanks
playing.
so much for having us.
I mean, can I at least get a verse and a chorus of Bop? I'm going to ask. Somebody's tweeting me like, I mean,
Yeah, let's sing a chorus.
give
You
us
wanna sing
a bit of that.
Sure.
Taylor, go
I just
ahead.
grab
What are
his
you gonna
guitar. No, I was gonna say, should we do a chorus? But he grabbed his guitar.
Yeah,
First
just-
verse through the
yeah.
chorus.
Yeah.
And unless you're
No, I'm
wanting,
good.
because
He's
it's
trying
gonna
to
get
put on-
longer.
Oh, grab my pick.
No, let's play it as long as you want.
I wish people could see the radio, like Isaac's struggling to get the guitar back on.
Oh,
Little taster.
Hanson, anytime you guys are in town, you want to come by, you have an open invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you
It's,
so much.
You know, it's been a nice 24 hours, and the fact that you guys, I have people that I know now that say at one point they used to go to your house and drop CDs off at your door, and you would sign them and mail them back to them. Like people would do that, huh?
Yeah,
yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, back in the Oklahoma days where we're just playing.
We are three guys. We still live in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We still,
We're on there. You have to listen to the show.
yeah.
We'd love.
You know, man, it's we try. We're very proud and want to keep this kid going. So if anybody needs any CDs signed, you can drop them at my house.
and
you know.
and
Yeah,
thank
well,
you.
not really at my. I mean, maybe Zach's house.
If they can
That makes it weird
find
for
my
me.
house, then I'm actually worried because I live like in a dark.
If they can find your house, they might be at risk of getting buckshot in their rear end.
Okay, hold on.
Hey, Isaac, Zach, Taylor, thank you very much for
Thank you, man.
the last 24 hours. You have a fan of me, and if you need anything, let me know.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Everybody, clap your hands for Hanson. We're gonna let them go get some sleep.